Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, welcome to another episode of the WrestleClub UK podcast. It has been an interesting week in wrestling. As always, we have had some drafts. We had some picks. We had some surprises, I'm going to say. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. This week, I am Sikisa, and I'm joined by the wonderful Richard Wright. If it's not right, it is wrong.
Oh, hello. That's nice.
Thank you. And we have got main event Mark Cram.
It's a pleasure to be here as always, especially when Sikisa actually gets my name right for once.
It's not your official name.
I changed it by depot and you can't prove I didn't.
Maybe I can. She works in the legal industry. She might have to track it down.
I think it's public record. I think you can just go get it.
Yeah.
Then everyone Google it. Yeah. How's everyone's week been in general?
All right. Yeah. Can't complain.
Oh, awful. Let's get on and talk about wrestling.
Oh, shit. Okay. I mean, I've had a lovely week. I've been on tour.
Nice.
Where have you been on tour?
I've been in Manchester, and I will say shout out to Molly. Please, hopefully I forgot your name right and I remembered it after all the drinking I did afterwards. Molly, who listens to the podcast, came to the show in Manchester.
That's cool.
And was wearing a Judgment Day t-shirt. Shout out. Hopefully I remembered your name right.
This is in Manchester.
In Manchester. And then we went to Bristol after 2 days of drinking and had a lovely show in Bristol.
Nice.
Had some really great times doing the tour show. Nearly done. But obviously we've got Restival. We're obviously recording this on a Wednesday. Restival, our show, along with the Jerry Bakewell Cabaret show, is on Thursday the 2nd. If you wasn't there, shame on you.
Yeah, by the time you hear this, it will already have happened, and it will have been amazing.
You missed out. It was brilliant.
It was
What?
great. It was the best thing ever in wrestling and comedy combined.
Yes, exactly. Obviously, these two lads are doing the commentary.
We have zero experience of doing this.
great.
Actually, I don't know. Do you have any? Have you done any?
No.
No, I've not. But we've listened to a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I just make sexually inappropriate comments about people like Jerry the King Lawler.
So Jerry Lawler.
Yeah. And you can...
And I'm Mark Madden.
You're Mark.
So it'll be fine.
I'm going to be Mike Adamley.
Mike
That's why I'm
Adamley.
voting this
Just
up.
call everyone by the wrong name. Sick.
Jeff Harvey. Come
Jeff
on.
Harvey.
Oh, Lord. And then the Fluffy Boys obviously will be doing the raffle and causing chaos, as they normally do.
I love the biggest responsibility we trust the Fluffy Boys with is the raffle.
Oh, come on. That's an institution of indie shows up and down the country, the raffle.
I mean, let's face it, it's going to be Danny as well, because the odds of Ibs turning up on time to do this.
The show starts at 7 or 7:30. 7. It starts at 7.
Ibs starts at 8.
It starts at 8.
Look, he'll be there for Jerry Bakewell's show.
That'd be great. You could do it then.
You can do it then, yeah.
Well, hopefully we did see you there. If you didn't come, shame on you. There's obviously 2 more Restival events that have happened. Please do go support the event. It's absolutely amazing. We had Heather, who's the organizer, on last week, who puts in so much work into this. Who puts so much work into this festival. And we were talking about her husband last week, and I realised we've seen her husband.
Who's her husband?
You remember the monkey man at Lucha Britannia?
No.
Oh, he used to come out and just have one ball fall out.
I've not been to much Lucha Britannia.
No, I didn't really go too much.
Oh, I used to go all the time, and he had one ball fall out, and I was like, his balls are out.
Like his real ball?
Yeah.
No, it's not a stunt ball.
Stunt ball.
Stunt ball.
Yeah, we all got those. Somebody's stunt
Mike
ball.
Stuntball Bailey.
Mike Stuntball Bailey, yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't hear the conversation, listen to last week's episode. It's so funny to talk about her husband. But let's get into wrestling. That's what we're here for. Let's crack into it with Pop and Heat.
Pop and Heat.
Which is our highlights and lowlights of the week. Does anyone want to kick it off before we talk about the draft?
Well, there's not really a lot going on other than the draft. This is all sort of treading water. Understandably, sort of treading water a little bit at the moment in WWE. What's AEW? Anything particularly interesting?
Swerve is obviously new champion.
We did all that on the podcast last week.
We did it last week. Obviously, they were just hyping him up this week. But we'll find out who is his number 1 contender by the time this podcast comes out. That's what's going to happen. Regarding the championship, AEW was a bit fine.
It's week after pay-per-view. You're not going to be like...
Oh, you know what my pop is? Actually, draft aside. the Drew McIntyre CM Punk program is becoming one of the best things I've seen in wrestling in a long time. Because they've got what it's got is like Punk's not having to do any of this meta insider bullshit stuff.
No.
It's a wrestling angle where he's just talking about another guy who is talking about him, and watching Drew's just slow descent into madness as Punk is doing nothing but winding him up continuously.
Him running around the arena to try to find him, and then find out he's in the ring.
And then Punk coming back to the ring. Punk is just absolutely trolling Drew in real life, whilst Drew trolls Punk online. It's a whole. It's
also like just Sheamus just coming back and just be like, "What are you doing, Drew?"
Do you think that Sheamus is going to team up with Drew?
He's been drafted away, hasn't he? I believe. I
think they're different shows, aren't they?
I think they're on different shows now.
Are they now?
Yeah.
Did I miss that one?
I think it's been separated.
We'll go through
We'll go through the draft.
We got the draft in a minute.
Yeah.
Also, could I just give you a low light, which was such an obvious angle from SmackDown? Carlito.
Oh, yeah.
Carlito was the person.
Well, yeah.
Carlito. Of course it was Carlito.
Yeah, because it's the only thing that made any sense. So obviously it was going to be Carlito.
Yeah.
I don't know what, I wouldn't say it was low light. It's just obvious. It's just storytelling.
Sometimes obvious is fine.
Yeah.
And I like Carlito going out on his own. And
He's a heel.
I like the fact he's going to do something. Since he's been back, he's not really done anything.
No.
He's just sort of stood around with the rest of the LWO. Didn't even get announced for WrestleMania because they knew people would like that too much.
True. Well, considering that the draft was the biggest thing that's happening this week,
Talk draft.
we talk about draft into Backlash.
I mean, outside of NXT, where Shawn Michaels just allowed Trick Williams and Lash Legend just to get thirsty.
This was this last night. I missed it last night.
Yeah, they just did an angle where they just flat out just flirting with each other in the middle of the ring and just clearly just go there and just say things. It's like, okay.
We're supposed at the end of the PG era now as well. We could have this return of the live sex celebration as per Lita.
Never have been a thing.
Imagine the return of
think of the teenage boys that briefly saw Lita's boob on TV.
Just briefly, all those childhood fantasies.
Why didn't they get WWE Magazine or whatever it was, that Diva, that Diva DVD that was basically just like, what was it called? I'm happy that I don't remember what it was
Divas
called.
on the Beach.
Yeah, something like that. It was something like that.
My favourite one of those, though, do you remember WCW did a pay-per-view of their hot female performers doing being on a beach and doing stuff, and they put it up against another WCW pay-per-view at the same time? Because they were broadcast on different pay-per-views.
Of course they did.
Providers.
Of course they did.
WCW competed with itself on a pay-per-view. It was incredible.
I don't know about that. I will look into that. That's crazy.
I think I'm right about this.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. It sounds like a WCW move.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the draft, but before we do that, Mark, lead the way in terms of what does a draft mean?
What does a draft mean? Drafts, now, traditionally in politically American sports, for the British sports fans who don't know, you have to put pools of talent from colleges, usually, which can be drawn from in American sports, be it hockey, be it basketball, be it NFL, and they're all taken in rounds. Each team gets to pick one team in each round. The shitter teams get to pick first, but often those are traded away. Now, none of that interesting stuff applies to a WWE draft.
No.
What you get here is SmackDown and Raw randomly picking people based on criteria which makes no sense, even in kayfabe. Because I always say the most nonsensical thing in wrestling is WWE contract law, as we all know.
Yep.
But WWE draft rules are baffling because some people get drafted as a team, some people don't.
Oh, yeah.
This year, actually, I would say they were quite consistent. They drafted factions and teams together.
They did.
Yes, they
in
did.
the past, they've split some teams.
Thank God they kept the pride together. I think we're all super happy about
split
that.
up the pride, I
Oh
don't know
God,
what
I would have
would
kicked off online.
No one would have wanted to see a Montez Ford sustained singles push. That would have been awful.
Yeah. But also, they did announce for this particular draft two things: that all the champions were staying on.
They're staying on the show.
Makes
That's
sense.
fine.
Happy with that.
Happy with that. But
I even understand that.
Yeah, it was fine. I appreciated it. So it kind of kept consistency.
It makes sense.
It kind of was very like, oh, well, Damian Priest is on Raw. Does that mean the rest of the Judgment Day is going to stay? That was a bit of like, oh, okay. But also that how Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman announced that Roman Reigns has taken himself out of the draft voluntarily.
Yes.
That is very much so they can put him where they need him.
Where you want him to
what's
come
going
back.
on when he's
want,
back.
yeah.
Yeah. So obviously we kicked off the draft via SmackDown, which was night one. Triple H came out after Cody Rhodes did his little promo, and they did it together. And we kicked off with number 1 pick, Bianca Belair, staying on SmackDown.
It's an interesting pick. She's a big star, young, big future. So, like kayfabe times, it makes sense to pick Bianca Belair. Like, I get that. But it's kind of like, I don't mind that much so much, but some of the picks going were absolutely wild. When you're getting people drafted from NXT before AJ Styles, it feels a bit, I don't know if that's the right, I've not got the list in front of me, but there's like big stars being drafted after nobody.
Hang on.
Hold on, wait.
So
Richard's got the whole list.
Wait.
Okay. The WWE
made a
Draft list.
folder.
Made a folder. How nerdy do you have to get when Richard Wright has
get
made a
so
folder?
excited for the draft, and I'm always bitterly disappointed at how rubbish it is.
Did you make predictions before this?
No.
Okay, fine.
I think genuinely the first draft was exciting because it was a genuine, like, entirely good.
Yes.
And then after that, the only time the draft was ever exciting was when Cena moved to Raw from SmackDown, because that felt massive.
Yeah.
Did you prefer when they had it where it was like, there's going to be a match between SmackDown and Raw, and the winner gets the pick?
I did like that.
I quite liked that. I added something to it.
It was kind of like, oh, what's going to happen? Who's going to...
Also, I like the GMs to do the picks because it makes Adam Pearce and Magnus can get out there and be like, this is why I'm picking this person.
It should be a strategy thing.
You just had Bubba Ray Dudley going, this guy.
The
cool.
war room. They were in the
war room.
Yeah.
Well, we're saying that Bianca's gone to SmackDown. Jay staying on Raw. Carmelo Hayes was drafted to SmackDown, which I kind of thought was not a surprise.
No.
Can we look at the order of this draft? Like, who went first?
I'm doing it now.
Right,
So
first.
Bianca was first at
Right.
SmackDown. Then it was Jay staying on Raw. Carmelo was the 3rd pick, SmackDown.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins.
And they claimed that Carmelo was the first ever NXT star to go in the first round, which is, I'm pretty sure, not true.
No, I don't think it is.
I don't think it's true.
Finn Balor, they made a massive point in the
Finn Balor.
2016 draft to take Finn Balor
Finn
in
Balor
the
was
first
the first.
round.
I think it was the first overall pick, Finn Balor, wasn't he?
He was second or third, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah. Because it was like Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and then Finn Balor, I think.
And also, you're telling me in kayfabe, you're picking Carmelo Hayes before Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Multi-time world heavyweight champion Seth Rollins, still in the prime of his career, admittedly going to be out for a little while.
Was he part of the draft pool?
He was picked
He
next.
was picked.
Oh.
They picked Carmelo, then they picked Seth.
Then they picked Seth. Then it was Randy Orton.
I mean, Orton, you could justify Orton being lower because he's older. But it is still a bit like, how are you picking Carmelo Hayes in kayfabe above Randy
Yeah.
Orton?
And so Randy Orton staying on SmackDown. And then second round, we had Braun Breaker to Raw.
Which is great. Except later we discover they've sent Baron Corbin to SmackDown. Which, even if you don't want to keep that tag team together, put them on the same show so you can maybe do it.
It's the only time Baron Corbin's been interesting, and now you've robbed Baron Corbin of being interesting.
And also, he wasn't even picked on the actual TV.
It was a supplemental draft,
Supplemental draft. So after Braun Breaker, then we had Nia Jax, who's gone to SmackDown.
Yes, she has. LA Knight.
Liv Morgan next.
Yeah.
Was staying on Raw. Then it's LA Knight staying on SmackDown. Ricochet staying on Raw.
So we got who's Ricochet been picked above here?
The Bloodline.
You're picking Ricochet over the whole Bloodline.
All
in
Alpha
kayfabe
Academy.
Ricochet is worth more than all of the Bloodline.
Sheamus, AJ Styles.
Ricochet.
Well, he's WWE's new quickest boy. He's the speediest boy. He's the speed champion. He's the fastest boy, Mark.
Well, we didn't get Will Ospreay, so fuck you.
Yeah, he's the fastest boy.
We're going for the second fastest man.
Yeah.
So Sheamus went from SmackDown to Raw, which kind of made sense.
Didn't even sort of realise Sheamus was on SmackDown, to be honest, because he come back on Raw the other week.
Yeah. So which is why I think, because of this whole Drew McIntyre situation, they seem to be like indicating that that's going to be a new thing.
I think they'll do a Sheamus Drew match because Punk isn't ready yet, so I reckon Sheamus is wrestling Drew before.
Is Sheamus there in case
Punk is
ready for Clash?
Yeah.
I just figured Sheamus was going to join Drew.
I don't think so. I think Sheamus is having a nice little babyface run
Yeah.
through to the end now.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. AJ Styles, like I said, is staying on SmackDown. Alpha Academy is staying on Raw. Andrade's been transferred to SmackDown.
That'll sell some tickets.
Yeah, he'll hook up. I think Legado del Fantasma is still on SmackDown.
Have they not gone
Yes.
to Raw?
No, LWO's gone to
LWO.
Raw.
LWO have gone to Raw. So they wait. The two factions whose only purpose for existing
Is to feud with each other.
are now on different shows.
Andrade will end up leading Legado del Fantasma.
I would like to say good luck to all those lads when they get their future endeavours in about 6 months' time, when they realise that without that faction war, there is fuck. Oh, other than Ray, obviously, who is never getting fired.
Kiana James.
Kiana James, yeah. Fun. She's good.
But in kayfabe,
Yeah.
how is she being drafted that high? She's not even like main event NXT.
I know.
Before Shayna Baszler, before Zoe Stark.
Yeah, so supplementary on SmackDown, we had Alba and Isla.
Isla Dawn, yeah.
Yeah, Isla Dawn was transferred to Raw.
I love them both, but I am also amazed they're
What are they
still
doing?
working there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they just have to maintain 30 women on the roster.
I like
to have a Royal Rumble.
Isla Dawn's tweet after draft was like, look how many of your favourite stars from NXT UK. Like,
Yeah.
Remember them?
As we mentioned, Baron Corbin's been transferred back to SmackDown from NXT.
I mean, good for him to be back on the main roster because he has.
I think he's great.
He's earned that. And
he's really
I'm
good.
willing to give Baron Corbin a chance here. Again, like I've never been a big Baron Corbin fan. Liked what he did with NXT with Braun. I would love to have kept I would love to have kept that together. I mean, for the first time, I am genuinely interested in what they will do with Baron Corbin.
Yes.
Although I entirely fear it will be nothing.
Yes. Cedric Alexander and Ashante.
who I had forgotten was a thing.
We talked about this a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
they didn't. I remember they did a vignette.
The vignette about...
And then nothing.
And then nothing. And then, not Baron Corbin, Braun Breaker faced Cedric on SmackDown, and there was no mention of Ashante. He didn't come out to support him.
You knew Cedric was in trouble in that match, by the way, when Braun pulled his straps down before the match even started. It's like, yep, I'm already in finisher mode, thank you.
Yeah. Also, he had no intro, so it's just like, we'll see what we're going to happen with the two black people. Ivar stayed on Raw. Shayna Baszler stayed on Raw. The OC's been transferred to SmackDown, which is weird because I thought it went back down to NXT.
They went down, but that's one of those things where they pop down, like some of them, they just, you've got nothing to do, go down NXT, do this.
Ivar's done that as well. He's down.
Yeah, he's down there now.
And then Zoe Stark is staying on Raw.
Yes.
Yeah, good call for that.
Yeah.
And then night 2, which was on Raw, Imperium, which is just...
Can I just say, first of all, I really like the fact that they split the draft into 2 pools, so it makes sense that not all the, otherwise all the big stars go on the first show, and the second show would just be, and now, Cedric Alexander.
Well, apparently there was crisis calls after the first draft because everyone was like, is that it? Like, most people just stayed where they were. There was nothing any big.
It is a lot of people staying on the same show.
I don't think the track builds up, and the strategy, you got to make sure you hold on to what you've got, and it's like, that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see how the strategy isn't immediately take the other brand's biggest star with your first pick.
Yeah.
If you have first pick, because even if they take your biggest star, you've got their biggest star, so you've not lost anyone.
Remember the first time they did it in 2002. Like, there was that back and forth, like, when Ric Flair shockingly took The Undertaker. I didn't think he was going to take The Undertaker.
Because The Undertaker's a big star.
Yeah, and also, like, they were kind of feuding, and Vince promised him he wouldn't draft him, and he got really angry about it. And it was there was all sorts of cool stuff, even in 2016.
Who did they draft at number 1 in 2002? They drafted the fucking Rock number 1. Because that makes sense. You draft the biggest star first. And then they drafted, again, but that was the weird one, though, when some tag teams were together, and then the Dudley boys got split up, and you're like, well, who drafts Devon Dudley? Devon Dudley's mum wouldn't draft Devon Dudley.
They had excellent plans for him as the Reverend.
Reverend Devon.
With Batista.
Do you remember the first person who was in that role?
You've mentioned this before on the pod, and I can't
Ron
remember.
Simmons did it for the first week.
Yeah.
And then they just went, this just look. But he was still just wearing APA gear. Clearly couldn't give a fuck.
But do you know why they loved that gimmick? One of the reasons they loved that gimmick. You know when Batista would go around with the box and collect the money, they could keep that.
Who? Batista and Devon would keep?
Yeah, they would keep that money. So whatever they collected from the crowds and at house shows, they just could keep that money. Just kept it.
We should do that for Festival.
Who's getting that out of Batista's hands as well?
Exactly. The first pick on the Raw show was Imperium, which is Gunther and
I mean, that's a kayfabe pick, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
Ludwig, though.
Do feel worried for Giovanni Vinci's future endeavors.
Yeah.
What has he added to that team other than being the
Handsome
third man
boy.
when they need a third man?
He's a handsome boy. They're a
It's
good
a shame
tag
that-
team, him and...
It's a shame they didn't get the belts at the same time that Gunther got it.
It would
That
have been nice to have seen that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they want to push Kaiser as a solo act, which seems to be what they want to do,
Yeah.
and I think long overdue, I think he deserves that as well. And I think ultimately you end up with a Gunther Kaiser feud at some point.
Well, we'll go into the Gunther thing in a minute because someone from NXT has obviously been transferred up, and I'll get into it in a second. But Jay Cargill was staying on SmackDown. This is the interesting one for me. Damage Control has moved to Raw,
Yeah.
Away from Bayley.
away from Bayley.
And we've been waxing lyrical over the last 2 weeks about how Bayley's title reign could be great because you could run through them.
Yes.
All the members of Damage Control could be presented as individual challengers.
No.
And now, I don't know what the fuck you do with Bayley.
Also, they've moved Damage Control with the women's tag team titles to Raw, and they taken Chelsea Green and Piper Niven and Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, two of your only really recognizable female tag teams, put them on SmackDown.
No, but I think the tag team championship for women is
It is, they do cross.
they do crossover.
Still,
It's crossing
So
over.
it's been defended in NXT as well. hasn't it?
Yeah, it's crossing over.
they've never really, but they've never done that properly though.
No, they'll do it as it suits them. I think you'll see Damage Control hopping between shows though. Quite.
Kevin Owens is staying on SmackDown. CM Punk is staying on Raw. The Pride is staying on SmackDown. Braun Strowman returned and is staying on Raw.
Yep.
I didn't notice Braun had gone. And I feel like I am not the only person that did not notice that Braun was gone.
No.
He is a big lad. There's always room for a big lad. Me and Richard have arguments about this all the time because Richard hates Omos, and I see the value in Omos just being
Oh,
a big
no.
lad.
There's a here's the
Come on, let's talk about it because I'm on Richard's side with
There's a
this.
difference between a big lad when in an era when you've got big lads like Ivar and Bronson
Yeah.
Reed
Yeah.
that are big lads.
Who can
There's a
do-
difference between that and a man walks in,
Who just turns up for
who's
rumbles.
only maybe half a step better than the great Carly.
But he still looks like a freak of nature.
But
in a
what's-
way that the other big lads are big, but they don't look like, they're not like, oh my God, I can't believe how big this guy is.
Yeah, but what he
Omos
does is
has
to
that
turn-
impact.
I'm fine with Braun Strowman. I think
Yeah.
Braun Strowman really improved. Braun Strowman can go. Omos almost adds nothing. As much as I like him outside the ring, seems like a cool guy.
But what he does is just turn up for battle royals and that's
Well,
it.
you're very much going to hate what I imagine is definitely going to be the Braun Strowman Omos program they do at some point this year. That's definitely happening, right?
Yeah. Well, Tiffany Stratton staying on SmackDown. As we
Tiffany.
mentioned, LWO has been transferred to Raw.
Yeah.
Do we get a Dominic turn?
So LWO has gone to Raw. Dominic's still on Raw with Judgment Day. So we're now going to, this entire year is going to be Ray and Dom builders.
Did I just not copy him in?
Who?
Oh, Imperium. Sorry.
Yeah.
I lost my mind.
That's fine.
Because we talked about Thingy and I went, where's Gunther? And he's lost my head.
Yeah. Drew McIntyre staying on Raw. Shinsuke's moved back to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Also, look how many people went before Drew McIntyre in kayfabe.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's madness.
Well, I think this helped with
He
the...
just main evented and won a world title. And I know they played it off for the Punk thing, but in kayfabe, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, why is Drew not a first or second round pick?
You got to get Legado del Fantasma before you get Nakamura. You've got to, haven't you?
Hey, Nakamura's really good for your product because he will come out and have a competitive match and always lose.
Always lose.
Judgment Day staying on Raw. Naomi staying on SmackDown.
Again, how are so many people ahead of the Judgment Day? There's so many members of the Judgment Day. You get Finn Balor, Dom
But you
Mysterio.
also have to take JD McDonough.
Yep, I mean, that does drag it down, actually. I accept that point.
Yeah.
They are as low as they should be.
Yeah.
Dragunov has been transferred to Raw, which is
Raw.
brings into the Gunther.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to happen.
That's definitely going to happen.
I don't want him joining Imperium. I've heard noise.
I don't want that.
I suggested it, didn't
Don't
I?
want
Why don't they spit in the face of every WXW fan that ever lived?
Their own, forget that, their own history. In
Yeah.
NXT and NXT UK. Just
Yeah.
let's forget all
The
that.
storied history of NXT
The
UK.
UK.
You know, interesting side note.
But that's the match everyone remembers.
Every single WWE UK champion is now on Raw.
All of them.
Pete, Tyler, Gunther,
Ilya.
Ilya. That's all four.
shit. Oh, well done.
Who took the title? Who unified it with the?
Oh, but do they count as one?
I don't know.
And who took it?
I don't know.
Was it Carmelo?
It was Carmelo.
Did he unify the NXT and NXT UK?
Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because it was Carmelo, wasn't it? Was a triple threat.
Yeah, I think it was Carmelo.
Yeah.
So in which case, yes, they are all on Raw.
They're all on Raw.
Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, as we mentioned, has moved to SmackDown.
Yeah.
I hope they get given something good.
Oh, they're so good.
Chelsea Green in particular has absolutely smashed everything she's done. Her performance in the Women's Royal Rumble, I don't know how she didn't get like some sort of reward push after that, because she was just hilarious. Getting battered when she was just basically a corpse in the middle of the ring by the point she'd been flattened by Piper so many times. It was a great role.
No, they're really good together, and I'd put the tag team titles on them. I think Chelsea Green I just don't think she will, but I would not be against her winning Queen of the Ring.
I wouldn't.
I don't know how you have I mean, have they announced the lineup for Queen?
No.
I mean, because I'm assuming they're going to anoint Jade or something.
Jade or potentially Tiffy.
Yeah.
I assume that they were winning the tag team championship this week. We'll talk about Backlash in a minute. Anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty Deadly. New Day staying on Raw. Pretty Deadly staying on SmackDown. Valkyria?
Valkyria.
Valkyria. Thank you very much for pronouncing it correctly. NXT to Raw.
Good pick.
That's great. She's really good.
That also about where she should be kayfabe-wise as well.
That makes sense.
And like from calling up a talent with a good gimmick and everything else.
Solid.
I mean, I'm worried it's one of these things that's just going to not translate to the main roster again, like
Maybe.
a lot of NXT things do.
Maybe.
But she has got a lot of ability. She'll make it work.
But we talk about that. But no, I know we talk about JD. But look what's happened to JD, because JD, this is the same thing that happened to JD. JD got drafted to Raw and then spent about 2 months doing nothing, and then got put into this Judgment Day storyline, and look where he is now.
Look, worse Finn Balor is exactly where he should be.
Hey, he's also got a big head. Look, he is. The reason his transition worked from NXT to the main roster is because he didn't have a discernible gimmick in NXT. It wasn't a presented gimmick. He was just a wrestler who.
He was really creepy in NXT. Don't you remember this?
No, that was real life.
Oh, no. Sorry. But no, they made him like this kind of like almost Dexter-like serial killer kind of thing.
Again, I think you're thinking
really weird.
Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell moved to SmackDown. The Final Testament is now on Raw.
The Final Testament is AOP and that lot, is it?
Yeah.
Great. That'll be fun.
Karrion Kross.
They can feud with whoever they want to drag down with them. I mean, Karrion Kross isn't bad at pro wrestling, but fuck me, this is one of the worst WWE runs I've ever seen.
Just they can't, no matter what, and you can't say it's just because of the Samurai Gimp thing, right? That they gave him.
Yeah.
Which was bad.
It
was bad.
Losing to Jeff Hardy clean on debut.
Well, still NXT champion.
Yeah, also, the AOP, though, I will say, those two are made henchmen for the right guy.
Yes.
Karrion Kross is not the right guy.
Not the right
but those
guy.
two, they're just two big hard bastards. Fine, they have an absolute role in this company, and they should definitely be doing something.
If you're going for the love of God, if you're going to bring Paul Ellering back, for the love of God, have him say something.
Like, I don't know anyone on the WWE roster who's stealing a living more than Paul Ellering right now. What is he doing that is adding any value?
Because, like, at least in, like, NXT, he, like, opened up the book and he cut these promos and it was interesting. He added to the gimmick. Now he walks out and he has the thing, goes, and stands there and it's like, cool, bro.
No one looking at you. Scarlett's there.
It's a good point, actually. DIY is transferred to SmackDown.
They went low, didn't they? Are they below Pretty Deadly in the poll? I mean, no disrespect to Pretty Deadly, but DIY of both NXT champions.
It's probably not, but you know what it looks like? It looks like, okay, so we're going to get Candice LeRae and we'll get Indy Hartwell. Oh, DIY is still available. I'll take DIY as well.
Yeah. We can put got out with his wife then. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Bronson Reed is staying on Raw.
Again, low pick.
Blair Davenport transferred to SmackDown.
That's another one. That's like a solid. I feel like she's a really solid, like Lyra. It's a really solid.
I don't mind that one.
No.
Supplementary. Apollo Crews.
Speaking of stealing a living,
Oh no, that's me. That's not me mean.
You know what? I take back everything I said about Karrion Kross. In terms of most disappointing, and why it's so disappointing is because he has so much ability.
he's so
Even
talented.
when he did the African thing, I kind of was like, at least you're doing something.
Yeah, like
I mean, that was bad.
It was bad, but I was like, at least you're doing something.
I always say that somebody's got a touch of the Ricochet about them when they can't be like. Honestly, Ricochet is LA Knight in comparison to Apollo Crews.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even realize my man was still on the roster.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I was like, I thought he was in NXT. I was like, oh, okay.
Why do you think he's still? What's he? It must be a reason why he still works there.
Why? Also, can we clarify that he went to NXT, right?
Yeah.
And he had that story, he had that gimmick where he could see the future. Do you remember this? He would get visions, and he had a vision of him winning the title.
Did it happen?
It didn't happen. Everything else he had a vision for happened, but he didn't win the title.
That's because that gimmick was mental illness. That's what his gimmick was.
If someone had said to me 10 years ago they were having visions, I would have said to them to get help. Okay.
If Apollo Crews could really tell the future, he would have given up a long time ago.
Hey, we got the drum fight.
Oh, Big E.
Yeah.
God, he beat Big E in that. Was that when Almost turned up the first time, or was that the other?
No, that was they changed his name. Babatunde?
Yeah, was he the one in the fight pit with Shane?
General somebody.
Oh my God, I've just remembered the Shane McMahon fight
General.
pit thing.
It was General something they called
General
him.
Adnan?
No, that's
going way back.
Yeah, that's way back. That's Sergeant Slow's manager.
It was General something.
It was General something. He came and got a pseudo military uniform.
Let's say Zod. General Zod.
Yeah. Neil before.
Oh yeah, so that was the highlight of Apollo Crews' run, and people can barely remember it happened.
Yeah. Diamond Mine staying on Raw.
Yeah.
Dijak
is
Raw. Dijak is Raw from NXT.
Odyssey Jones.
Yeah.
Wasn't he already like first draft pick like 2 years ago or something?
What, Odyssey Jones?
Yeah, I think that's why he got drafted from NXT to Raw
apparently
like 2 years ago.
he's already on Raw and staying on Raw. I have never seen him on Raw.
No.
Am I delusional? Have I been high?
I would, if you just said to me, was he released? I would have been, yeah, absolutely.
I thought my man was still on NXT.
No, I thought he was released.
You know, Paul Ellering's looking busier and busier when you see some of these names that are on this roster still. Odyssey Jones.
Diamond Mine's a great pick.
Giovanni, as we mentioned, is going to SmackDown.
He's going to get released. That's what Giovanni's going to do.
He's going to have a nice run in Impact.
Also, we will just say it's not really nice when they get released. But
no, it's awful.
You know, it's awful. But also, do something with your talent.
Also, sometimes it's beneficial to them. I think sometimes some people are Mustafa Ali smashing it right
now.
Yeah, Ziggler smashing it. Well, Nick
Nemeth.
Shelton Benjamin's coming to the UK.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited about that.
For that. Progress Wrestling, 25th and 26th of May.
We will see you there.
Shelton Benjamin competing in Super Strong Style 16, as well as Mike Santana for you AEW fans, half of LAX.
Kaden Carter and Katana staying on Raw.
Yeah, Cowie Girls.
Natalia's staying on Raw.
Natalya. You know what I like most about that is Natalya is going to be legitimately so pissed she's drafted so low in real life.
Oh, she's put up a few tweets like
already.
Yeah.
But also, like, what have you done? Like, you are so low on the totem pole.
It's so weird. I genuinely really feel bad for her. There's a couple of things. One, she always nails everything I ask her to do.
Yeah.
And she'll always step up, like when there's an issue, like when she went, was it Saudi Arabia, and she filled in, and there's another show at the last minute she had to step in.
Yeah.
She goes down to NXT and I've not seen the underground. I need to see that underground fight pitch she had at NXT. I want to see that. But she's genuinely good, and I feel like part of the reason is because she didn't quite come up in the right era.
You think if she had been more of the four horsewomen?
I think if she broken through then, different story. But because she's felt like a hangover from a previous era, she doesn't quite. Because she's been around forever, she's just kind of there.
But she's been there. I'm trying to think who in the company's been there longer than her. Kofi, or are they about the same?
About the same.
Kofi's about the same.
Yeah.
Randy, obviously.
Same. Sheamus.
Sheamus is about the same as Kofi, isn't he?
Think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy's been there the longest now.
Randy's been there the longest.
Wrestling regularly.
Yeah.
No.
And that's about it now.
Mm-hmm.
So Natalya, she said...
Tamina.
Yeah, okay.
Is she on the roster still?
I don't care.
Yes. She was drafted.
I don't think she was
No,
drafted.
she was undrafted. She was undrafted.
Yeah, so New Catch Republic is moved to Raw. Odyssey Jones, as we mentioned, staying on Raw, which you didn't know. Tegan Knox transferred to SmackDown.
Why do in kayfabe do New Catch Republic go below Pretty Deadly, even though they beat Pretty Deadly? That's like it just seems a little bit silly. And Tegan Knox getting drafted, good for her, because I imagine I love Tegan Knox, and
Excellent.
Nixon Newell fans from the Indies. She was absolutely incredible. I'm so sad for her and her run in WWE because every time she had a little bit of momentum, she's got
Gets
injured
injured.
every single time.
time.
And I really hope that this is the time that she can put the few. I fear it isn't because I just.
Oh, wait, she's on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Pants.
Yeah.
What, is that pants?
Because they put her away from Dakota.
Oh, I see. You can't put that team together.
You can't have that feud.
Yeah.
A couple of people who are not drafted because of injury and on maternity leave. Obviously, Brock Lesnar's not been.
He's on maternity leave. As well.
Yeah,
He's on maternity leave.
But
That's what they
also,
call him.
Dexter Loomis.
He's on gardening leave.
So is Brock like? It seemed to be the implication that he was done, and now Triple H is saying that that's not the case.
He's no.
Basically, they've gone. He was mentioned,
but he didn't necessarily do anything.
Yeah.
so they've gone. We'll just put you over here for the time being.
Yeah.
Not mention you, not really talk about you. Just stay over there. You chill there, and then when this is all, we can bring you back.
Yeah. There's a couple of people that are listed as unknown, as in why they've not been drafted. This includes Dexter Loomis. This includes Nikki Cross. This includes Omos and MVP. This includes
Tamina.
Tamina. Uncle Howdy.
Oh, for the love of God.
Yeah.
If there was one good thing to come out of Bray Wyatt's death, it's that shit was going to be over. If they
They're bringing
this,
it back.
If
They're bringing it back. They're bringing the Wyatt 6 in.
Yeah,
Why?
considering that how Braun's back.
But like, why? What? Why?
I'm with you, but it's gonna happen.
I just don't understand it.
I don't know if I wasn't really excited.
I'm always excited for the draft, and then it's never fun, like I want it to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to see happen in the draft one year is if they manage to get hold of like a big name free agent from New Japan or from AEW. So like say MJF gets announced in a draft pick.
That would have been exciting.
That would be huge. I'm not saying it because they've not got MJF, they can't do that. But if next time they get a big signing like that, they can make the timing work. That would be that would make the draft just immediately feel bigger.
Like, and this is what you could have done something so cool if the GMs were making the picks, right?
Yeah.
So you get to the point where they draft the Judgment Day, they come out, and they Paul Heyman's and Solo Sikoa gets in the face of Thingaby and goes, draft him. Who? Tama Tonga comes out, gets in his face, like, oh, and also a part of the Judgment Day, Tama.
They could do stuff like that.
Interesting things.
But they didn't. They just had weird sort of legends coming out going, here's a list of names, most of which we don't even know because we don't watch the product regularly.
Can I also give a shout out since we're talking about Tama Tonga?
He's hot, right?
Oh, he's hot, number
Is he
one.
hotter than Reigns?
No.
He's not taking Reigns out.
He's not taking the reins out. But also, Randy Orton's back.
Randy Orton is back. Some would say he never left.
Well, he disappeared for like a couple of weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, disappeared for a couple of weeks.
Randy's got love because Randy's got that tenure in the company where he's allowed to take holidays.
Yeah,
But he's like, I'm not going to show up.
I'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Fire me? I don't care.
Well, we'll see how the draft is affected after Backlash.
Which is another thing that gets me because they did it. They always do it. Do it like after a pay-per-view, not just like the week before a pay-per-view. Do it after a pay-per-view.
Also, like, I struggle almost with calling this a pay-per-view or even a preview. Like, it's kind of a house show they're doing in Paris and calling it a pay-per-view because there's nothing on that card that is gonna have any consequence to anything. No one's gonna lose a belt on that show.
Well, controversially, we'll talk about it. Let's do some predictions, shall we?
Right.
Backlash, thinking about the draft has just happened. We're going into a new era. We keep talking about this new era. We're going to kick it off, obviously.
How do we feel about him being referred to as Paul Levesque all the time?
Oh, no.
Can we just call him Triple H?
I'm fine with it.
It's just weird. It's just weird.
Also, it'd be weird if he's a businessman now. Weird gimmick. Do you know
Call
what
him
I mean?
Terrorizing.
Like,
We're going to go back to gimmick names.
like, okay, we're on the conference call here with Triple H. Like, it doesn't quite.
Well, it doesn't have to do it on the conference calls, but I mean, when just in front of the audience.
But that's why they keep the nickname thing.
There is 5. There's currently 5 matches announced for Backlash.
I don't think there'll be another one added.
Go on, hit us up. What we got?
So we got Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline, which is Solo and Solo and Tamatonga.
Right, yeah.
I think
I think the Bloodline win that.
Bloodline win. Solo needs to get some credibility now that he's the leader.
Yeah.
You're not beating Tamatonga his first time
No.
out. Kevin Owens almost definitely takes the fall.
Do we think interference from the third
Jacob Fatu makes his debut.
Jacob
I
Fatu?
could feel that.
Yeah.
Flying
In
to France
Paris?
for that, though.
Flying to France for that.
Well,
An American Samoan in Paris.
yeah, it'll be.
That was good. That was really good what I did there.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was very good.
That was good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, yeah.
That's why your main event, Mark Cram. I think it's simple. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all can agree on that one.
Yeah.
It's a baffling booking decision. Randy Orton doesn't need a win. Kevin Owens doesn't really need a win. Well,
They
maybe he
do.
does, but he would be all right without one.
The tag teams women's championship match, the Kabuki Warriors and Bianca and Jay Cargill.
I think Kabuki Warriors retain
With interference.
because I reckon Jade and Bianca have a falling out.
Oh, interesting. Not maybe Dakota Kai interference.
Maybe all of the above.
Yeah.
But I would go Kabuki Warriors to retain.
I think Jade and Bianca's winning.
I think they could do. If you want a feel good moment on that pay per view.
I'm saying retain, but I'm saying I think
Disqualification.
could happen. I reckon Kabuki Warriors could lose the match but retain the titles.
I feel because if they don't win, then I'm assuming they both entering Queen of the Ring.
Yeah. Although them as tag champs entering Queen of the Ring, then facing each other as tag champs in the final.
Yeah.
Kind of does right itself. But I'm sticking with my original prediction, but they could do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to go with Bianca and Jade. I think that does make sense that they pick up. Yeah. And also, let's not pretend that WWE in any way care about the women's tag team titles. So yeah, why not? They're props. Let's put them on Jade and Bianca.
Yeah.
They're literally just things for them to hold. The titles that mean nothing. They don't care about them. They're proved time and time again.
And if we talk about the fact that Jade is amazing, Jade's a superstar, but in ring, compared to everyone else in that match, doesn't really compete.
Bianca wrestles most of that match.
Yeah.
Hot tag.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill does a few moves.
But what I'm saying is,
Asuka knows what she's doing.
yeah, what I'm saying is, if they give them the belt, at least Jade's got a program to work with.
She can be carried in a tag team for a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we've got Bailey versus Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton.
Bailey retains.
Bailey.
You're not putting. If you're going to put this, you will put the title on Tiff eventually, but you're not doing it like that.
No.
Who's getting pinned?
Naomi.
Naomi's getting pinned.
Naomi's getting
Yeah?
pinned. Yeah.
Okay.
After she does like 3 or 4 really cool split moves.
Which she will hit quite badly. And
Which
derail the
she'll hit.
momentum of the
Look,
match.
within the first 5 minutes, she'll do a couple of really cool things. Then we'll go, yeah, she's great. And then a couple minutes later, she'll do them again, and we'll go like, it's less impressive now. And then she'll do them again, and you'll go like, cool, I've seen it. Can
I ask about this? What is the situation with Naomi? Because I really enjoy Naomi. I think coming in from TNA, hot energy.
She needs to just
Turn into Bloodline.
less is more with her. I think she's trying to do too many things all the time, and it throws off the momentum of other people in the match. You watch them, and they don't know how to cope with her timing.
Yeah,
because her timing, the timing of her moves is all really quite irregular. It's like if you're running the ropes against her, you see somebody have to stutter steps or hold, just because she's in an opposite.
And can I say, I don't want to be mean because Naomi she's good. I feel like one of the reasons those matches in TNA were so good was because that is how good Jordan Grace is. Jordan Grace is phenomenal.
I think Jordan Grace is top 5 female workers on the planet.
Yeah, Jordan Grace is incredible.
I don't think Naomi is top 20. That's not an insult. There's 20 there are fucking 20 banging even outside WWE.
Yeah. It's just I was so happy. I was great. Naomi's back, and then straight away
same gimmick,
and the matches just went exactly the same. I say it's always slightly awkward. It doesn't quite flow. It's always been, and she hits those like split moves, and you're going like, that's great, but there's only so many times you can do that and make me go, oh, sick.
Yeah.
There's something about the way she wrestles that I just go like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I really don't.
Yeah.
But there's something about it. It's like
Just not clicking with you.
Entrance is great though, isn't it?
yeah.
That's fun.
Give her old music.
Yeah, that's also.
Oh, yeah, the old music was better. Then we've got Damian Priest versus Jey Uso.
I mean, Jay's not winning the title.
Jey's not winning the title.
Damian Priest.
This is just setting up Damian Priest as the legitimate champion.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah. And then we've got Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles.
I would love an AJ Styles title run, but if they do that, it would literally be the most baffling and shocking decision they've ever made.
Yeah.
Imagine
Cody's winning.
you spend all the time and AJ Styles beats him in France. No, it's Cody and it's Cody clean. In what I'm sure will be a banger of a match because AJ Styles is really good at pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Where does AJ Styles go after this?
Back to the mid card. And that's not a problem. AJ Styles will absolutely smash whatever you give him to do. He's at the stage of his career now. He's not going to be the guy anymore. He's not going to carry the title for any length of time. But you can heat him up into a main event for you. You can throw him into a tag team. He can wrestle for the US title. He can wrestle for the IC title.
Yeah.
And he feels legitimate in everything he's doing. You can beat him and it means something. He is the ultimate utility player.
Yeah. There are certain people they have on their roster that you can go like plug anywhere in that you need.
Yeah, it was Ziggler before.
Yeah. You've got just Zayn, Owens, Orton, Styles. These are all very valuable people who you can go there.
Rollins.
Put you there. Sheamus.
Rollins, Sheamus, Drew. I think that anyone they can be put anywhere on a card.
Yeah.
Because also what's been great as well, but the elevation of the IC title in particular is the IC title is like a big thing again now. So you can drop Drew or someone down to an IC title level and it's not.
Is there no IC title match on?
No IC title, no US title.
Well, I didn't think there'd be US title. Logan Paul's not showing up.
Logan Paul's not going to Paris.
Backlash.
But Sami Zayn, what's he up to?
Yeah, no Sami Zayn. I assume it was going to be a triple threat
Well, they did the IC title match on Raw this week.
with Bronson Reed, and then Chad Gable interfered.
Well, they seem to be, and then Bronson laid them both out. So
Yeah.
I'm liking this because Bronson's looking good. Gable's got a new character. Sammy's got the belt. IC title again. IC title was featured doing something.
Yeah.
Like I was worried after it got off Gunther. Like, well, that's that done.
And it's leading that way because they have put Alpha Academy and Diamond Mine on the same show.
Diamond Man's.
It's going to be Chad Gable with the Creed brothers
Yeah.
and Ivy Nile, I think.
It has to be. If you're moving forward with this character, then it has to be. I definitely think. Because there's no way that none of the Alpha Academy is turned heel.
Oh, like I mean, which one of those? I mean, Maxine, it could potentially be a heel, but she's quite sympathetic now.
Yeah, people
Otis
like...
is not a heel.
No.
And Suzuki, what's his name? Sorry,
Akira Tozawa.
Akira Tozawa. Why did I say Suzuki? Who am I confusing him with?
Minoru Suzuki?
Kenzo Suzuki.
Kenzo Suzuki.
He's dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the fear I have for them is they're going to separate from Gable. There'll be like a little comedy-based little team, and then they'll just sort of disappear.
I feel like they could be like him and Otis could be a very a solid tag team.
Yeah.
Like not a top tag team, but
Solid.
you need tag teams.
They'll be lost in the ether pretty quickly, I think.
And this is the problem, isn't it? When you do things like the draft and like moving players around, people just get lost. And I'm like, no!
You could argue, though, that they have kind of, because from latching onto Gable, they've kind of been, like, you know, they've had a bit more longevity than they possibly would have done.
True.
Well, a bit harsh on Otis, but for not latching on. Like Otis was popular
Otis,
before he
to
got away.
be fair, was popular, yeah.
Like that. Like he wasn't moved by that storyline with Mandy.
Oh,
Also, that Rumble spot where
Where
he
he catches her.
it's
the
just
best thing. Best thing. Well,
She comes down, saves him, plants the kiss at Mania.
we'll find out what happens after Backlash and how it affects the moving on into the draft. We did talk about briefly AEW, and I just want to end the episode and having your thoughts about this. Jack Perry with the Elite.
He joined the Elite.
They released him because he was of no value. He is back, and beyond the initial impact of him coming back,
Don't think they ever released him. I think it was a story.
I think it was.
but either way, I don't think he's had any particular. Jack Perry,
Which is weird because he was one of the 4 pillars.
yeah,
He's no value. He's not one of the 4. Jack Perry is, and I've liked his work since this whole thing. I think this is, if anything, been exactly what Jack Perry needed to evolve past Jungle Boy and leave Jungle Boy far in the distance. He could be a very good heel.
What does Jack Perry bring to the table that even other members of the Elite don't already bring to or Undisputed Kingdom? What, like, he's a shitter Adam Cole, I think, in presentation right now. So you've got Adam Cole. Why have you gone to get a shitter Adam Cole? Like, I don't see what value Jack Perry adds.
Well, he took out Tony Khan.
Yeah, you knew it was about time that Tony Khan was going to start doing fucking physical angles. I'm telling you, he will be AEW champion one day. That is going to happen. He will beat Jack Perry for the AEW championship in a match that will signal the downfall of civilization.
I just think it's interesting that he has aligned himself with the Elite.
With the Elite, yeah, they was always going to. I think.
I mean, it all just seems a little bit sort of like you're building up a guy whose only logical feud is with a guy who works for another company who couldn't give a shit about it anymore and has just sort of gone, all right.
It's interesting because I think they can, like, I think if you get the return of Hangman Page and Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny's coming back next week.
If they come out and be like, you kick me out of the Elite. Okada, fine.
Yeah.
Okada, but Jack Perry?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? You kick me out of the Elite and you take in this? I'm Kenny Omega.
I don't like Okada being in the Elite, though. It feels wrong, doesn't it?
He's a good heel. He's a really good heel.
He's a really good heel.
Like, that match with Pac was just excellent.
And he's passable in the ring.
He'll do a good job.
The second thing I would like your opinion on, when we're talking about AEW, the learning tree. Chris Jericho's learning tree. Would you like to be a member? Would you like to join the learning tree?
So,
I'm saying the learning tree this much because that's how much it was.
They say that, yeah.
So much.
How is this going to be different from the last
two, three
Jericho AEW stables?
Who honestly, genuinely, maybe MJF, but who has genuinely benefited from being a member of a Jericho stable and is now more of a genuine star because he was in a Jericho stable?
I would say initially Sammy, but then didn't really go anywhere.
Swerve?
No.
What are you doing?
Oh, Daniel Garcia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I said star.
Oh, wow.
I was like, if look at the original Jericho Appreciation.
Dancing gimmicks in wrestling really equals star.
Hagar, he's exactly the same position he's always going to be in. Sammy had a brief sort of, you thought, okay, you might go somewhere, but it emerged that he's somewhat of a bell end, so that's not that helped him.
Cool Hand and Magic Matt ever.
Yeah, I mean,
Kevin Owens was already a star.
I mean, did Kevin Owens benefit from working with him?
Yeah, he did.
I think so. It was fun as well, and Jericho got the list over, and that was really good. But in WWE, Jericho doesn't have the control he has in AEW, so he doesn't get to, I'm going to have a stable now, guys, and I'm going to have another stable, and another one, and another one, until there are no one left to be in a stable with me.
I'm going to join the Don Carl time, but I'm not going to join the Don Carl time. I don't know, man.
The learning tree.
The learning tree.
The learning tree.
Shit name.
The learning tree.
Who's even in it now? Have they announced that yet?
No, it's not. Is it a stable?
No, it's one person. What's his name that used to be with the rapping man? Big
Cass?
Big Cass.
No, he's not Big Cass anymore. He's
No,
Big Bill.
Big Bill. Thank you.
But
Bill came out. I was like, I would like to join the learning tree because I think I can learn so much from the learning tree. You know why? Because you are the learning tree, and I would like to learn from the learning tree. I would like so much to learn from the learning tree, and I'll sit there going, "What the? Okay."
So you've got Big Bill. They're going to build a stable off the back of this. It's not just be Jericho and Big Bill knocking about. Otherwise, that is some real switch off TV. I don't know. I mean, I reckon. Look, Chris Jericho will always have a place on a wrestling show because Chris Jericho is a fucking incredible talent, creative. But you just give him a break for a while.
Look, hey, if it keeps him off commentary,
Oh God.
Oh.
You know what? I'm all for that. But I don't know. It's a really weird situation. I feel like Jericho. I feel like they're trying to like counter this claim that like Jericho just works with the younger talent and leeches off them, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying. No. It's the learning tree guys, and I actually help and actually listen to my learning tree, and that's why I work with younger talent, not because of that. Sure.
But also, you know what? It's Chris Jericho. I don't doubt that he still might get this over because he.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. It's Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho, he could do.
We'll see.
If you had said when Chris Jericho first went to AEW that he would actually, when he first, people forget the original Jericho Appreciation the first day. What was it called? Not the
Inner Circle.
the Inner Circle run was great.
Yeah.
Like
In fairness, yes, the Inner Circle was great.
Yeah. Well, let me know your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, between whether you want to learn from the learning tree, whether you think it's going to be successful. Let's see how much of a mentor he is to Big Bill in this situation. Let us know what you think about the Jack Perry situation, but most importantly, let us know what you thought about the WWE Draft this week.
Yes, please do.
Whether you thought it was worth it or not.
where was Gangrel? That's what we all want to know.
Where's Gangrel?
I would draft Gangrel first round every time. I'll tank a second round.
What I would like to hear your thoughts is whether you think Uncle Howdy should return as Uncle Howdy or whether it should be a different gimmick. Let's hear your thoughts about the situation. Mark's like, no. Apart from that, we're going to end the episode on a lovely note. Richard, what are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to Restival.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
I'm also looking forward to Restival.
That's the
and
correct answer.
all the shows that will be happening at the Pleasance. Us, Jerry Bakewell's show, others, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
there's
great
more.
fun. I mean, we're plugging a thing that's already going to have happened by the time that
No, but we
this
still got
podcast
time.
comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's Eve's 14th anniversary show? Is that this week? Or is that next week?
No, there's an Eve on Friday.
That's not the.
Is that not the
I
anniversary?
don't
No.
think it's anniversary show.
Also,
Well, Eve's soon.
I
Go
will
to that.
also say, if you do want to be intrigued at what we're doing, Mark is hosting, ring announcing at Purpose Wrestling next month.
I am on June, I want to say the
7th.
7th. Yes, it's the LGBT Pride Month special of Purpose Wrestling. They don't have a queer ring announcer, so they've got me instead. A man who is queer but is not a ring announcer. So I can either copy the tactics of Jerry Bakewell and be Jerry Bakewell, or you and do some sort of burlesque sexiness. I'll probably go halfway between the two.
Yay. Make sure you get your tickets to that and obviously support. I'll be there.
It's in Wimbledon.
I'm buying my tickets.
I'm going to go.
If you live in Wimbledon and you want to see me do really bad ring announcing, and I assume watch wrestling.
You're not going to be bad. You'll be
You're gonna
great.
be bad.
Yeah.
You'll be great. I've done it. I'm great.
That's true. I am better than you. Should be fun.
Exactly. Hope you enjoy the rest of your wrestling week. Let us know what you thought about Backlash, because we will be talking about it next week in our review show. You know the telephone number by now. Send us a voice note, send us a message what you thought about it, and hopefully I see you soon. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about WrestleClub UK podcast. Woo! Please thank Richard Wright. Please thank main event Mark Cram.
You're welcome.
I've been Sikisa. This has been another episode of the WrestleClub UK podcast.
Podcast.